Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Juan the Yarn Addict and I'd like to welcome you to another session of Coffee and Cake with Juan. Whether you're new here or you're returning back to the channel, thank you so much for checking out today's video. These coffee and cake sessions are ones where I clean up the stash. I pull all of these leftover yarns from various projects and I get them all caked up and organized in the yarn room. So if any of this is of interest to you, please sit back and enjoy the video. Before we get started, please remember to hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already, and then of course share the video. I would definitely appreciate the support. So before I start kicking up yarn, I have to tell you about what's in the mug. So I do not have Dunkin' Donuts hazelnut coffee today. I decided to go through the coffee stash. Yes, I do have a coffee stash. This is H-E-B's Cafe au Lait Cinnamon Hazelnuts, gifted to me by a viewer of the channel. Thank you so much, Janet, for the coffee. As I thanked you before, I'm thanking you again. And as far as the creamer is concerned, I do not have caramel macchiato creamer today. It is actually hazelnut. So yeah, it's very good, very different. I'm way off the mark today, but you know what? Every now and then, it's okay to stray away from what you're used to. And today is that day. I feel like I have extra caffeine in my system. Like a ping pong ball going all over the place doing all the things. Anyway, so the goal today is to get through the flats. I call these flats, by the way. It's pretty obvious why. They're flat. So they've been worked for the recent crochet along, the Wildflower Oasis. And these are the leftover yarns. So I need to get the flats caked up. I also have a basket here of leftover yarns and also yarns gifted to me by viewers of the channel. I have banana berry here. It looks like there's a cake in there. It looks like a project was started with this yarn and then it was frogged back, and instead of like recaking it, it was wound over the cake. That's why it's kind of like flat. I also have these two skeins of banana berry as well that I'd like to get caked up, just because all of the other colorways of banana berry, or the other cakes of banana berry, I'm sorry, they're all caked up and I want them all in the same tray. So there's that. I have some big twist yarn here from the Halloween make. I want to call it the Irish Illusions. That's it. It was the Irish Illusions blanket. This skein was from that project. It was all done in big twist and I need to cake that up. I have some Red Heart Super Saver yarn here. I don't have the colorway name. I can't remember what it's called. I just know that I thought it was vintage and it's not. So I need to cake that up. I have some green yarn here. This was part of a purchase that I made online at Facebook Marketplace. I don't know the name of this yarn. It feels like a Red Heart Super Saver yarn. It's not the softest. It's not the roughest either, but I'm just saying. And then I have these leftover balls of yarn, which if we don't get to them, it's fine, no big deal. So at the very least, the goal here is to get through the flats and get through the banana berry. That's the goal for this video. So will we achieve that goal? I'm not exactly sure, but that's okay. Let's get started. I'm going to start with this charcoal because I feel like it needs some TLC. Something happened along the way while I was moving the yarn. It's like yarn barf, but on the outside of the skein. And I feel like the more I move it, the more it gets knotted up. Anyway, I don't have much left of this skein, so I don't think the cake will be pretty big at all. So I'm just going to hook everything up here. And we're just going to get started. There's really not going to be much in the way of like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, unless we're working through some yarn barf. But in terms of like changing colors and things, that's not going to be this video, I don't think. Then again, I mean, you never know. We start things and then, you know, sometimes it gets derailed. We go off on tangents. It's fine. Anyway, the best part of this coffee and cake session, or any coffee and cake session, is I just gab at the gums. I talk about the yarn, I talk about all the things. So again, if this is of interest to you, please sit back and you enjoy this video, grab your favorite drink, maybe your favorite whip. Maybe you have chores you need to do and you just want me on for background noise. By all means, go ahead and do that. I caught myself doing that to myself. I put on one of my podcast episodes and I decided to clean the laundry room. and I had a really good time. I mean, every now and then I caught myself stopping what I was doing and I'm looking at my phone, which is where I was playing it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So yeah, I'm guilty as charged. I do the same thing. I do it to my own podcast episodes and also some of my favorite podcasters. As of late, I've been spending a lot of time watching the knitting podcasters. Now, I've been watching them for quite a while, but I'm having a really good time learning and just listening to the lingo and all the things regarding knitting, because I feel like the only way to really expand my knowledge in knitting, apart from like reading books and learning recipes and things, is to listen to people actually talk about it. You know, how do they talk about their projects? What don't they talk about regarding their projects? So I'm a sponge when I'm listening to these knitting podcasters. I'm having so much fun too. So yeah, it's a journey. I'm having such a great time with it. And to just think that 2 years ago, I had little to no knitting knowledge, and to date, I have a handful of completed projects done in knitting. So I know they're very basic, but baby steps, right? So yeah, one day, I mentioned this several times actually, one of these days, I really want to be able to put yarn on the needles and knit my own sweater. I do want to do that. And even if it's like a basic sweater, all garter stitch, I mean, we all have to start somewhere, right? So that's like a personal goal of mine. But as of right now, I'm doing like basic things like scarves and washcloths and shawls. So I may expand my knowledge a little bit, but I want to get really comfortable with the basics, like stockinette and knit two together and just those basic knit purl techniques with the ribbing and the eyelets. The list goes on. So I don't want to rush too fast, because I feel like if I do that, I'm going to get overwhelmed and then I'm going to lose interest, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to take my time, enjoy the process, just like I did with crochet. And the things that I still do in crochet, like I feel like there's still things for me to learn, and I'm still learning. And I think that is amazing. Even having done this for 30 to 31 years, it will be 31 years soon, I still feel like I'm learning things. And I love that about fiber arts. There's no dead end. You're always learning something new, whether it's a new join technique, a new stitch technique, a stitch combination. So, I mean, I'm actually loving it more now than I ever have. And I never thought I'd say that, but because I already loved it, but I love it more now than I did when I first started 2 years ago. And the fact that we have this amazing community, a place where like we can share our passion, I think it's amazing. So yeah, absolutely love it. And just like that, this one is completed. We had some yarn barf at the end of that skein. It's, you know, I wasn't really paying it any mind because again, I was talking a mile a second, but yeah, there it is. I don't know what happened to the ball band, but I can guarantee you 100% that's Premier Basics and charcoal. Next, we will take care of Spring Green. Premier Basics, Spring Green. Not much in the way of yarn barf. Let's cross our fingers and hope there's not a mess inside that skein. Oof. We all think about it. I know we do. When we pull flats out of a bag, out of a basket, we all say to ourselves, I hope there's no yarn barf inside there. I hope that I'm able to ball that up or wind it up and not have a bunch of knots to deal with. Now, I've come to learn there's a lot of people out there who love working through the knots and the yarn barf. I am not one of those folks. I do not care to work through the knots. I'm not a fan of it. I will, doesn't mean I like it. but there are people out there who absolutely enjoy the yarn barf. They enjoy the knots. They enjoy all of those stop and, you know, just focus on this one little thing before we go and do all the other things. I can't do that. I don't have the patience for it. I'm learning that I'm forcing myself to. I think what it is I don't want to have the patience for it. I just want to be able to get it done, and there just went a bunch of yarn. We lost the eggplant. It's fine. It'll stay down there until we're ready for it. Well, I have to tell you, this flat is very loose, and hopefully it doesn't cause chaos later on down the line. We shall see. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I don't know if I can. I'm going to move this ball band off because I feel like it'll get caught on the yarn and then there will be a knot or 2 or 10. So let's not do that. So once again, this colorway is spring green. And when I decided to use this color in the Wildflower Oasis, I hesitated more than once because with the color story I had, it stood out. And a lot of people were like, Juan, how is that making sense with your color story? And for some reason, I just ignored all the signs that said, Juan, it's just not the right shade of green. And I just decided to put it on there anyway. And it turned out not bad. I don't want to say like groundbreaking. No, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was nice. I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10. I don't regret putting the color on there because when I used this color, I had a justifiable reason for using it. So the center of the Wildflower Oasis represented a fountain, and then there were hedge bushes around the fountain, and it, you know, each part of that blanket has a story. And I used this color here for the hedges around the fountain. So yeah, I thought it was a really good choice. It was a different choice. It wasn't expected, and it turned out really nice. I'm very happy about it. The only thing, you know, if I were to change anything, I probably would have incorporated more of this spring green throughout the project. I only used it like twice, maybe, or 3 times. 2 or 3 times throughout the project. I think I would have wanted to incorporate this a little more to just brighten up the project because I used dark colors, I feel, apart from the light blue. So I used light blue, spring green, I used these 2 colors, eggplant, and burgundy. So yeah, for the most part, darker colors. Okay, cake number 2 is done. Will we get to the banana berry? I think we will. We only have 3 flats to go. Where's that label? Here it is. So I'm going to fold this up like so, like that. Let me just get that off. There we go. Perfect. Cake 2 complete. Let's move on to this light gray, just because I feel it's more disheveled than, actually no, they're all about the same. They're all about the same. It's fine. The bunny ear's a little too large on that one. We'll fix that, no worries. So I know it's kind of late for me to mention this, but the noise that you're hearing is the air conditioning. It is so hot outside. Like, I took a step outside, it literally took my breath away. I said there's no way that I could record a single thing without having that on. So please give me grace if you're hearing that. If it's a little too loud, I completely understand, but I have to be cool. I wish I could put some sort of filter on that to make it less loud, but it is on its highest setting and it is cooling off all the yarn and me. So I love that for us. Anyway, light gray is on the Stanwood, and I didn't use much of this color. I didn't use much of this at all. I thought I was going to use more of it, but I did not. So it's perfectly okay. This color will be used somewhere along the way in another project. And when it comes to the Premier Basics, I have to tell you, this yarn here and Loops and Thread Soft Classic, they're very identical in thickness. The difference is the softness. I feel like Premier Basics just has one little notch above Loops and Thread Soft Classic. Like again, they're both plump, but which one is softer? This is the softer, plumper yarn. That is good yarn, plump yarn, but not as soft as this. And again, that's subjective from person to person, but I will tell you, Premier Basics, it's the things. It's good yarn. I love it. But when in a pinch, okay, when in a pinch, you need some plump yarn, you can very easily go to Michael's, grab yourself a skein of that Loops and Thread Soft Classic, and it works perfectly. Perfect in a pinch. All right, so we're approaching the end of this skein. This is kind of where we're going to encounter a little bit of like knotting, if we're going to have any. So I'm just going to pay attention to my speed here. If you noticed, I slowed down a little bit. If I go too fast while it's like this, it's very likely to knot up. So nice and slow, easy does it. And there we go. This cake is done. I have to tell you, I absolutely love doing the coffee and cake sessions. It helps me clean up the stash. I get to gab at the gums and I get to organize, which I absolutely love doing. I don't know if you know that about me. As disheveled as some of my yarn stash is, I do like to organize. It's quite the contradiction, I know. But a lot of the time, I don't have the time to organize, which I know a lot of people can relate, you know? It's almost like, do we spend the hour organizing the yarn or do we spend the time working on a whip to get it done? I don't know about you, I'd rather work on my whip to get it done and worry about that pile of yarn later. It's not going anywhere, it's not bothering anybody, so I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there until I have the time to mess with it. So that's kind of my thought process behind that. But the whip, it does need to get done, you know, especially for me because I have to talk about it. I have to show it, I have to present it, and all the things. So when I talk about priorities, okay, I need to focus on this whip first. When time allows, I'll go over there and clean up that pile of yarn, or I can also include it in, you know, these sessions of Coffee and Cake with Juan, which is kind of why I do these. Well, one of many reasons actually. And I don't know how many of these sessions we actually have, but there are quite a few. And I love that for us. So this colorway is called Peacock. And I have to tell you, I love this color because I can't really decide. Is it blue? Like, is it part of the blue family or is it part of the green family? You know, I say team blue. To me, and then here's the thing, depending on your light, because in some shades of light, it goes to the green. So these lights that I have on right now, these are the fluorescent halo lights, clearly team blue. But I have these yellow shaded lights in the other room, and when I put this under that light, it gives me more of a green vibe. I don't know, I think these lights are more true than the other ones that have that yellow shade to it. I don't know. In either case, I absolutely love the color. I do, I love this color. I would totally run this color with like a navy blue and I don't want to say white, like navy blue, this color here, and probably aqua or turquoise, like that whole family. Yeah, totally. And maybe even red, just for that pop of color. Yeah, I would totally do that. And what do you know, I have a knot here. It got past me. You snuck past me, knot. That's not cool. That's okay, we will figure out the things. And it's a tight knot too. Let's see. Let's see if I can get through this quickly, because time is of the essence. I have Banana Bear to get through. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. This is what I mentioned earlier, you know, about like having to have patience and all the things. And there we go. We did it. That was a good one. Sometimes we don't have good ones. Sometimes they're not good. And we fuss and we moan and we groan, but we get through it eventually. I have to tell you, I got to share this with you. Like, I didn't think I was going to use this color for the cowl. I just didn't think I understood like where it would fit. But I said, you know, I love this shade. I have to include it. I don't really care if it's going to make sense or not, but I just wanted this in there. And I'm glad that I did it because it turned out really nice. So, yeah. Peacock is the colorway, and we are finished this cake. 4 cakes done. Love that for us. So I'm curious to know, how many of you guys cake up your yarns like this? How many of you guys play these coffee and cake with Juans while you cake up your yarn? I'm curious to know that. I got some feedback through direct message recently that said, hey Juan, it's been like a month since you did the coffee and cake with Juan. So when are you going to do those? Because I literally wait to cake up my yarn until you do those videos and then we do it together. I had no idea. I had no idea that people actually waited for this. By all means, you know, do it all the time. Maybe during a podcast episode or, you know, any one of those. There we go. It's a little mini cake. Love that. So 4 down. Now we're going to pull up this eggplant. Oh my. Okay, hopefully this goes without a hitch. I have a feeling we're going to be just fine. We're going to stay positive on this one because this is my favorite color. So I'm giving it all the grace. All the grace is given just because of how gorgeous it is. It is a beautiful color, you know? And I would love to make my very first sweater in this color, but not in acrylic. Maybe a cotton acrylic blend. I would totally do it like that. But yeah, this knit project I mentioned. Now, when it comes to crochet, of course, I mean, yeah, I honestly, I'll work with any fiber when it comes to crochet. Actually, I'll knit with acrylic as well, as long as the color is just right. I feel like it's got to be like the right hue of purple. All bets are off. I will, if it's 100% acrylic in that perfect dark purple, maybe even a little darker than this, but I'll take this. Yeah, I would totally do it, but not right this second though, because it's super humid outside. It is super hot. I know we're in the air, so it doesn't really count, but yeah, just the thought of how hot it is outside, I can't. Oh, it's not affecting me, right? I'm in the house, I'm in the air, but just like that mentality, like just knowing how hot it is outside, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. Anyway, so far so good with this skein of eggplants. Go you. Love that. I wonder how much we're going to get out of this. I did use this quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I used more than one skein on my cowl with this colorway. I couldn't resist. It's such a great color. And it's a plump yarn, and it's a dark purple. It's so good. And I know I mentioned this many, many, many times, but I still get asked, like, Juan, what is your obsession about this purple? Like, what is it about the purple that you're like so crazy about? Again, I mentioned this many times, but it bears worth repeating because we do have a lot of new people on the channel. So the reason why I absolutely love this color is because it ties me directly to my aunt and my grandmother, who absolutely loved purple as well. It was their favorite color. And obviously it's mine, but even more so because whenever I work with it, I feel like they're here with me. I know it sounds really weird, but yeah, it's true. I just feel like they're here. I feel like they're watching me do my stitches. They're making sure I don't mess up. So it's just that emotional connection that I have with them. And for those who don't know or may not have seen the very first video, my aunt and my grandmother were the ones who taught me how to crochet. And I know many people would be like, well, aren't you really close to your mom? Why didn't your mom teach you how to crochet? The thing about that is, if you haven't met my mother, she's been on the channel for a while, and as of late, she's been off. But my mom is a deaf mute. She can't hear or speak. And in order to communicate, we have to use our hands. So it's really hard to crochet or have my mom teach me how to crochet if we actually need our hands to do both. You can only do one or the other. You can't do both. So my mom was off the table in terms of being able to teach me how to crochet. She could literally teach me anything else except for the crafts that required our hands. So yeah, my aunt and my grandmother taught me how. And there's a whole story about it. But at the end of the day, they taught me everything they knew. And they always told me how much they loved the purple. Now, my aunt and my grandmother, they didn't enjoy the same shades of purple. So, you know, one preferred the darker purple, the other preferred the lighter purple. For me, I prefer the darker purple. It's just my jam. I absolutely love it. But since starting the channel, I've developed a very, very strong liking to the color red. More specifically, that bright, like bold red. I just absolutely love it. All right, so now we are moving on to the banana berry. Absolutely gorgeous. So I have a few cakes in the squirrel's nest waiting to be worked up into a project. But I said to myself, Juan, don't start something you don't have enough yarn to finish. So it's sitting there waiting for me to actually work with it, but I don't want to touch it until I have enough, as I just said. But I think with these three and what I have in the other room, it might just be enough if I include another color. So what other colors? Well, I'm actually thinking bright yellow. Red Heart Super Saver bright yellow. I don't have any in here, but it's very identical to the yellow that you're seeing here in this skein. Also spring green, Red Heart Super Saver, and believe it or not, the color way hues, the shades of this spring green and the spring green behind me, which is the Red Heart Super Saver, they're different, they're not the same. And I feel like the Red Heart Super Saver would actually align better with this yarn. And not just because it's also Red Heart Super Saver, but I think it's just because I feel like they developed this color story from the existing colors that they had. Just a thought. I could totally be wrong on that, but I'm just guessing. Oh, there's the inside. Okay, I see what they did there. So let's go ahead and get this on the standwood. And I believe the blue on this is like a cobalt blue. I don't know if they have identical shades to this, but I do think and believe that they still have like that royal soft blue. I'll have to take a look. The blue in there, like the dark blue, I think I have that in stash. I'll have to look. If I can find it, I will bring it into a podcast episode and compare and kind of show how I plan out my projects with variegated yarn. So yeah, good stuff. So let's go ahead and get this on. Perfect. Now I like to pull some of this out first, just to make sure we're nice and smooth. They do wind it very tightly in the middle. Okay, so we're good. This is my favorite part. As long as there's no yarn barf, we're golden. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna work up so fast. Fingers are crossed, everything goes well. I love how this is looking on the stand wood. It almost looks like there's color pooling there, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to this yarn here, the possibilities are endless. You could make a bag, you could make literally anything, but I would want to keep the colors light. Maybe that royal blue being the darkest color, but nothing darker than that. This is going so nicely. I'm loving this. Now I'm curious to know if I should put both of these skeins on the same cake. I'm thinking, do I risk it? I'm not sure if I want to do that. We'll see. I may keep it separate just in case, just so everything is nice and neat and nothing is forced. I'm loving how this is working out so far. Wow. Okay, we're approaching the end of the cake. And this worked up like a charm all the way to the end. Wow. That does not happen very often. This is amazing. That I'm gonna have to remember. Banana berry worked up like a charm. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna pull this off. Okay, banana berry, first cake completed. Let's move on to the second one. Perfect. So good. I'm gonna need a sip of this coffee. Believe it or not, this coffee is really, really good. Like, I swear by my Dunkin' Donuts hazelnut coffee, but I also realize it's not the only coffee out there that's good. Oh, I'm a man of habit. I know what I like, and that's what I stick with, but that goes without saying. This coffee is really, really good. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. This yellow with the blue, it's a perfect combination. Whoever came up with this color combo, A+. It's long overdue because this colorway is no longer available, but I wish they would bring this back so we could buy all the things. This would make a great summer blanket, like a summer throw. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Like a lacy summer throw in these like summer colors, or like a, see, if this was available in cotton, I would go as far as to say like a swimsuit cover up. You know, that would be awesome. In this colorway, oh yeah, 100% that. But this is definitely fun to work with when you have colors like this that are like super vibrant and then super chill. Super vibrant, super chill. I love this. It's so good. Now, this other cake over here that's got the wraps around it, it may go cattywampus across the table, so I may have to figure out the things. I do want to recake that. Just so when I go to work with it, I won't have to fuss with it, you know? But we'll get through it. Just making sure that nothing falls out or off the table. Very, very nice. I'm really impressed with this yarn. It's not the thickest yarn. It's not as thick as the Premier Basics worsted, but it is a solid 4, and they do suggest a 5.5mm crochet hook. My go-to is a 6mm crochet hook for all 4-weight yarns. It's just what I really enjoy using. I think maybe less than a handful of times I've actually used a 5 or a 5.5mm crochet hook for 4-weight yarn. More specifically, Red Heart Super Saver yarn. Yeah, 6 is just my go-to. I don't really enjoy working with those smaller hooks with the 4-weight yarn, unless I absolutely have to, like for gauge or whatever. So this cake is done. Again, no issues. It slid all on its own, no knotting. Love that. Okay, this cake is done. Cake number 2. Very, very nice. I'm gonna sit these right here because they're gorgeous to look at. So good. All right, so this is gonna pose a little bit of a challenge for us. I may have to finagle with this cake as it gets unwound. I'm not sure. I do have a yarn bowl, but I have cotton yarn in it right now. I have another project sitting in it. And I actually don't want to fuss with it because if I do, I may lose the yarn. So I don't want to lose the yarn. So we're just going to have to do the best we can with what we have right here, which I don't think will be too much of an issue as long as I pay attention to what's going on with this over here. So as the cake works itself through, I will just maneuver it so that I can pull the yarn off without it going all kinds of directions. Hopefully that'll work. We'll see. It's working so far. Love this for us. I didn't think this was going to work, but it is, and I'm very happy about that. So let's fold it down. Wow. I'm impressed. And like I said, I think once we get past these sections, there's a cake under there. And then we'll just re-cake the cake. And then we're golden. Okay. Let's see how this works out. Very nice. Okay. Wow. All right, so we are working from the outside in, but it is a cake. Whoops. We will get through it. We will persevere. Wow. Concentrating, concentrating. I'm so surprised that this is actually working. I didn't think it was going to. So I've never caked a cake from the outside in without a yarn bowl. So there's a first for everything, right? Love that for us. Come on, Juan, you can do this. Wow. Okay, I'm just gonna let the rest of it go. I don't think I should have done that. I feel like I have knots that I'm gonna have to work through. We'll see. See, you know what? It could have gone a lot worse. I'll tell you, for all intents and purposes, the job got done, right? It could have been worse, but we did it. We did the things. All right. So this bit here is kind of what I speak about when I talk about lack of patience. But I'm going to work through this, and I feel like it's not as bad as some of the things that I've seen in recent past. So we'll get through it. It's fine. Come on. Okay. Yeah, we made it. We did it. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get through this. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so do I need to recake the cake? No, I think this cake is fine just as it is. Very nice, actually. Okay. Let's tighten that up. Bring that off. Okay. It's not the neatest cake. I'm not very proud of this one, but the job got done. It's fine. Actually, it doesn't look half bad. It's good. So all the banana berry got caked up, and we still have a few minutes left. Let's see. Let's do this one. This is Big Twist, light gray. I'm almost positive it's not called light gray. It may be, I don't know, titanium gray. I'm not sure. It's one of those names. I used this for my Iris Illusions for my Halloween blanket. That's how long this has been sitting here like this. So let's see. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So 8 months. Yep. It's been 8 months since I touched this skein last. And after that project, I put it in the basket. Well, one of many baskets. And it's one of those things where you like set it and forget it. But now I'm going through everything. I'm going through all of my baskets, all of my bags. I'm getting it all cleaned up, organized, so I can create future projects and things with stash. Love it. All right, so we have Big Twist on the caker. And this yarn here is not as thick as Premier Basics, but it is super, super soft. And I said this story many, many times. I was not happy. I almost lost the table there. I was not happy with the older Big Twist. Yeah, handful of years ago, if you came to me and said Big Twist is all the things, I would have said, are you kidding me right now? As splitty as that yarn is, there's better yarn out there. Well, about a year ago, little more than a year, something happened with their yarn, and for the better. So much so that I started really, really enjoying the yarn. The projects were turning out nice. The stitch definition looked better. The colors were more vibrant. They came out with all of these different colorways and gave us more choices and more options. They've already had a lot of colorways to begin with, but then they came out with more. And yeah, love it. So a little fun fact, I don't think I've ever shared this, but my Autumn Aspirations crochet along is crocheted with, there's 2 colors in that sequence there using Big Twist Value Pound Plus. 2 of those colorways that are using those yarns are the older yarns. I had such an issue with the splitty yarn, but you know what? I just did what I needed to do. I didn't mention it. I didn't complain about it, because I knew going in that I wanted to use that yarn, because otherwise it would have just sat there and, you know, never been used. And I don't want to pass that yarn off to someone else for them to deal with the splitty yarn. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to deal with it. I love the colorway. I'll work through it. And I did. So yeah, I think I still have some of that splitty yarn in stash somewhere. I'll have to look, but for sure the Pound Plus in that older yarn I have. And there is a distinct difference on how it works up compared to the newer yarns. So yeah, that's a good video there. Bringing some of that old Big Twist and then the newer Big Twist, and just showing the difference between how it used to look versus how it looks now. And who knows, it may have changed again once Joann closed, but I'm assuming it's the same. I don't think it has changed at all, actually. But who knows? I don't know. I should get some yarn. I should pick up some yarn from like Hirschner's and all the places just to see if it's all the same. I'm sure it is, but who knows? I for sure want to show some of that older Big Twist yarn, because at first glance it looks perfect, no issues. But as soon as you have it on the hook and you're crocheting with it, yeah, distinct difference. For me anyway. So anyway, we are approaching the end of this skein. I love this for us. So good. Now, we didn't get to really cake up as much as I would have hoped, but you know what? I'm happy that we got this much done. So altogether, we have the 3 cakes of banana berry. We have the 4 cakes from Premier Basics from the Wildflower Oasis. And then we have this like silverish gray from the Halloween blanket. It's not a Halloween blanket, but the Iris Illusions. So there's that. I'm super happy. 8 cakes. Now they're not huge cakes, they're little cakes. All different sizes and proportions and things, but you know, it's all good nonetheless. All right, let's get that off. Super, super nice. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap up. I think 8 cakes is enough. So let's just do a brief summary of what we've covered for this session of Coffee and Cake with Juan. So once again, we've accomplished getting through all of the banana berry yarn. Super excited about that. There's that. And then, as I mentioned, we have the big twist. I think it's titanium. Don't hold me to it. But light gray, for sure. Light gray. And then we have Premier Basics in Peacock. Premier Basics in Eggplant. Premier Basics in Spring Green. And Premier Basics in Charcoal. So, we got a lot accomplished. I'm super happy about that. So, that is all for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to do all the things. Hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. It's very free to subscribe. And then, of course, share the video. I would definitely appreciate the support. So once again, that is all from me. And until the next one, take care, friends. Bye.